Good morning. We are Xavier Ollet and Paul Casals, researchers at the Catalonia Institute for Cultural Heritage Research. We will present the paper Education, Cultural Capital and Participation in Museums, the role of arts and heritage in Catalonia. This research investigates the relationship between educational attainment, arts training, and cultural participation in museums. We used quantitative data from the Cultural Participation Survey of Catalonia to analyze patterns of visits to museums, exhibitions, and heritage sites in relation to key sociodemographic factors. Arts education has been recognized internationally as a strategic investment for quality learning and the fulfillment of Sustainable Development Goal 4 of the 2030 Agenda, which seeks to ensure inclusive, equitable, and high-quality education. Arts are not merely a school subject, but a skill and a right that facilitate cultural awareness and expression, core competences for lifelong learning in the European Union. And arts education promotes social cohesion, equality, and tolerance. This study examines the empirical relationships between educational attainment, arts training, and cultural participation, analyzing how these factors shape patterns of engagement with cultural heritage. About the empirical framework, statistical evidence demonstrates that educational attainment is the primary determinant of museum going in Spain. According to the Ministry of Education, while 64% of university graduates attend museums, only 4% of individuals without basic education do so. Other influential factors include interest and knowledge. According to the European Commission, lack of interest, cost, and time constraints are the main barriers to participation. Non-visitors often perceive museums as cognitively challenging, which creates intellectual barriers. Proximity to heritage. 73% of Europeans live near a monument or historic site, which increases engagement likelihood. 59% versus 29% among those living farther away. Arts integration in education produces cross-cutting benefits. Learning through the arts programs significantly improve mathematics and language skills compared to schools without such programs and enhance cognitive and creative abilities. And 88% of Europeans agree that cultural heritage should be taught in schools. About the methodology, this study employs a quantitative methodology based on the Cultural Participation Survey of Catalonia, using data from 2016 to 2024. Each year, over 4,000 respondents aged 14 and above participate, sampled through stratified random methods by sex, age, and territorial area to ensure representativeness. Analyses include descriptive statistics of sociodemographic and cultural variables, inferential tests to assess relationships between variables, for example, Pearson's chi-square, and temporal comparisons between years to identify trends in cultural participation. Now my colleague Paul Casals will continue with the explanation of the study results.
Now we will talk about the results. First of all, in 2024, 53% of Catalans aged 14 and above visited exhibitions, museums, or monuments reflecting recovery after COVID-19. Cultural participation is strongly linked to educationally acquired cultural capital. About educational attainment, 72% of university graduates visit museums or exhibitions, compared with 28% of individuals without formal education, highlighting the need to strengthen arts education in compulsory schooling. About cultural inheritance, the mother's educational level strongly influences participation. Children of university-educated mothers show a 71% participation rate. According to Falk and Dierking, early family visits foster perceptions of museums as spaces of knowledge and enjoyment complementing formal schooling, and some studies indicate that mothers are the most active in deciding how the family's leisure time is used. Barriers to participation include lack of time, 37%, and lack of interest, 36%, particularly affecting younger people and those with lower educational levels. As the level of education decreases, a larger share of the population cites a lack of interest in museums and heritage, the blue bar in the chart, as a barrier to cultural participation. To contextualize the data from Catalonia, it is useful to compare them with those of other countries. Despite the methodological differences among the three surveys and the categories employed, several common patterns can be identified. In Catalonia, England, and Spain, the main barriers to visiting museums and exhibitions are lack of time and lack of interest. These findings align with those reported in the 2013 Eurobarometer, which indicated that the two main barriers to visiting museums and galleries in the European Union were a lack of interest and a lack of time. Visual arts training is associated with higher levels of museum going. In 2021, 19% of Catalans aged 14 and above reported training in drawing or painting, and 13% in photography, video, or cinema. Museum visitors, the blue bar in the chart, show higher rates of artistic training than non-visitors in both areas. 25% of people who visit the museums have received education in drawing or painting, whereas only 16% of those who do not visit museums have had this training. On the other hand, 18% of museum visitors have received training in photography or video, while only 9% of non-visitors have received this training. These results demonstrate that practical arts education fosters both technical skills and enduring cultural engagement.
Well, and about the conclusions, educational attainment, closely tied to socioeconomic status, is the primary factor influencing cultural participation in Catalonia, shaping both access and interest in arts and heritage. Visual arts training complements this pattern, being associated with higher levels of museum visiting and with the development of lasting cultural capital. Cultural inheritance, particularly maternal education and early family visits, reinforces participation by framing museums as accessible and meaningful. Lack of interest and time remain significant barriers, especially among youth and lower educated groups, highlighting the importance of making arts education engaging and relevant. Promoting arts and heritage within compulsory education is therefore essential to reduce inequalities, consolidate lifelong cultural habits, and foster social inclusion. Thank you very much.